Let's go over some odds and ends in Scheduler that were not covered in other videos. One of those is the PrePost Schedule. There are one of these for every program you have. So besides the program properties and times and the script we've looked at before, you can make Apple scripts and put them in your Radiologik folder scripts. Create your own Apple scripts in here. These are all DJ event scripts, but you could create your own in here. And you can have these Apple scripts fire before it schedules and or after it schedules. Over here we have a notes area. This doesn't do anything. You just put in whatever you want as a note for the program. Let's discuss another thing, contingent versus dependent. Contingent and dependent are really kind of like synonyms. But dependence we showed in another video, but we never talked about contingent and what that means. So contingent and dependent are pretty close to the same thing. It's just the order of events. So a dependent track is dependent on whether or not the previous line executed. A contingent track works the opposite way. So if you have, let's say, two lines in here, we'll just make two fill lines here. If I make this line contingent, then this line will actually not execute unless this line succeeded. So it's actually kind of complicated to do that, but it's possible to do that. What it will do is it will check if it can execute this line first, and then it will go back and execute this line and this line in their correct order. So that's what contingent is. Another thing that people might find useful is we talked about track prep and we talked about setting ramps. Sometimes you may not want to manually set all your ramps, but you definitely want ramps in everything you do. You could actually select all your tracks in iTunes and do like you would be for track prep, but go in to the file menu and select set ramps. This is a little bit hidden. And you can actually just set, I want all my ramps to be 10 seconds. I don't care what they sound like. You could do that. It's just a quick way to get all that done without all the manual work of setting the exact ramps that you want. Another thing is track properties backup. I created this for those tracks I was moving from MP3 to M4A, AAC files, or vice versa. And when I converted the files, I lost my track properties data, including my ramps and everything else. So what this can do is, without selecting anything in iTunes, if you snapshot to file, what it will do is it will look through all the tracks you have in iTunes, and then it will save a database of all of the tracks that have track properties and what their values are. So if you convert your files, as long as everything else stays the same, the artist, the title, their location and all of that, but all that changed is the extension of the file. You can restore that, and it will, whatever you had as track properties for MP3 will be applied to the newly created M4As that you converted. It's also nice to have as a general backup. Another thing is on the log pane, there is an errors tab on the log pane, and this set of errors is for both DJ and Scheduler, and it will indicate which one is having the errors. So if something mysterious is happening and you don't know what it is, sometimes you can find this in the errors. Errors are also logged in the console, which you could open this up right here, and it'll show you where the logs are in the consoles. But they'll be in, let me show this a little more properly here. In your tilde library logs, that's your home directory logs, there will be a Radiologik folder. And in there are several log files, but one of them is errors log. And another will be the play logs, the scheduler logs, the traffic logs, all of that sort of thing will be in there. I have a few extra files in here from other things, but that's where things are stored. They're actually in your a true folder. Usually the library folder is hidden and there's a logs folder in there, but you can get to all of it through here, and you can see the contents of it right here in Scheduler. So we'll do some other things here. In Preferences, you can elect to use composer separation with artist separation. You might want to go in the documentation to learn about composer separation and artist separation, because it actually gets complex, because a lot of times tracks will actually have multiple composers, and this will actually parse out single composers out of the multiple composers to do separation on that. It does a similar thing for artist separation with certain bands and featuring certain people, etc. So it actually does get quite complex. To do that, go in the Scheduler Help, which will open up this. And if we look at, let's see if I can find it really quickly. Should be Command Attributes. All separation. And you can see what all separation ends up doing, how it separates things out. So that's all described there in the help. What else in the preferences? Oh, make sure DJ is always running. In fact, both programs can actually babysit each other if for some reason, heaven forbid, they crashed or they were accidentally quit. You can have Scheduler babysit Radiologik DJ to make sure it's always running. And there's a similar setting actually in DJ to make sure Scheduler is always running in case that was accidentally quit. And that's in the advanced. Keep Scheduler open. You could have that on there. One extra thing I'll show in Scheduler that I didn't talk about previously is for rotated playlists. You can actually play your rotated playlist right in iTunes and just have no script at all in Scheduler. And what will happen is at the start time, let's say for here for 3 p.m., if I selected this box, what it would do was actually play the playlist right in iTunes. So I could actually do that right now. It'll play playlist Modern 3 and move up. So let's see if it works. And you can see back here it starts playing. It starts playing in iTunes. So that's just another extra little thing there you might find useful. And that's about it for odds and extras.